Hey everybody, Tom Glaser here. Thanks so much for joining me. This is an introduction to some of the basic standing poses inspired by a student of mine who asked me to demonstrate and talk through the poses first and then have him join in. So you can join in anywhere you want, but I'll go through each 2 times. Here we go. Well, why don't we do a little mountain pose? That is also one of the most basic poses. Again, there's various ways of doing mountain and different schools of thought about it. I'll just go through some of the basics. So you can do mountain with the legs and the feet really close together or even touching. Some people find that a little too intense or hard, and so it's also just fine to have them as far apart as hip width, or somewhere in between, whatever works for you. Either way, you're activating the inside of your legs. You're lifting the thighs just a little bit. So from here, again, we're lengthening the spine, imagining that energy going out through the crown of the head and down through the base of the spine. So always lengthening the spine, reaching up to reach down, activating the inner legs, lifting up the thighs just above the knees, just a little bit slightly. Part of this is, of course, the mechanics. It's also that when we're trying to do this right, we're absorbing our mind. Remember, yoga is yoking the body and the mind. The hands can be just relaxed at your side or facing forward as though you're receiving energy. The feet are planted firmly on the ground and your energy is evenly distributed. So sometimes what I like to do with new folks is to talk them through kind of leaning a little bit forward, leaning a little bit back, leaning a little bit to one side and then the other. Maybe doing a few circles each direction, and then really landing through the whole sole of the feet. And then breathing easily and naturally. So that, in a nutshell, is mountain pose, so a basic standing pose. As long as we're here, why don't we do a tree pose? And a really basic pose is to test our balance a little bit. And this is one of the most common. So again, I'll talk you through it this time. I'll do it once, and then I'll invite you to join me. So I'm going to shift my weight over into the left. And then I'm going to kickstand my right foot. So I get my bearings here. I'm choosing what's called a drishti. So my eyes are on a stable place across the room from me, and that helps with balance. And from here, I just slowly lift that foot. The sole of the foot comes either below the knee or above the knee. You can see I have to help it. The thing you don't want to do is have the foot right on the knee, because that can cause problems that we don't need. And then the hands might go to prayer. Try that first. So maintaining the eye position. Actually, let me talk you through it. I said I would do it first and then bring you through it. So I'm in my mountain. My weight is evenly distributed between both. I'm shifting my weight a little bit around to the right first, then landing my weight over into the left, freeing up the weight from the right, slowly, gently lifting it up, starting in kickstand. So you see the heel is against the lower leg, and the toes are tucked a little bit. And I gently lift just a little bit up. You can stay here. This is tree pose. You're doing tree pose right now. Or when you're ready, you might lift up. Or you might lift up a little more. You might have to guide it. So here's the thing with these balance poses. You see I'm falling out of it a little bit. people sometimes think that they're failing when they do that. No, no. It's great to fall out a little bit. That trains your balance. You are working your balance every time you fall off. It's great to fall off. It's a good thing. And you can experiment with various arm positions. And just choose your favorite one for that day. Okay, let's come down and shake that out. You can do the same thing on the other side. I'm just going to go fairly quickly this time because I want to get to some other poses. So I'm shifting my weight a little bit over to the left, landing my weight in my right. Kickstanding. That left foot, inviting it up. Not pushing against the knee. Drishti. Looking at one place across the room, maybe playing around with the limbs of my tree. Maybe coming back to prayer, always breathing, noticing if you're holding your breath. Gently coming down, back into mount. Okay, let's do a couple of the standing poses. So one of my very favorites is Warrior 2. So I'm going to plant my left foot, which is going to be my back foot. It's going to be parallel with the back of the mat. The right foot is going to be parallel with the sides of the mat. And the heel is in alignment with the rear arch. Okay, and I'm choosing a pretty wide stance. Go as wide as you can. If you can't be very wide right now, you start where you are. But the wider, the better. And the front knee is directly over the front ankle. And then I'm just going to lift my arms to the parallel and look out over my front middle finger and just hold. Okay, so that's Warrior 2. I'll quickly do it again. So we were in mountain. Taking a nice wide stance. The back foot is parallel with the back of the mat. Nice wide stance. Front foot, which is my right, parallel to the sides. My knee is directly over my ankle. Lifting both hands so they're parallel to the floor in alignment with the body. And looking out over that front middle finger. You are in Warrior 2, my friend. Very good. So you want to repeat that on the other side. I'm not going to do that now because I'm just bringing people through some of the various poses. So from here we often do reverse warrior, which is simply lowering the rear hand, lifting the front hand. If it's available, looking up once you get there. If it's not, it's just fine to look down. For a lot of beginners, that's where they start. They gotta look down here and maintain their balance. And then it's just fine. Maybe an intermediate, you look in front. Maybe it's not till much later. Maybe never. You look up. Maybe you just imagine looking up. It's all good, people. It's all good. Coming back through Warrior 2. Let's do that again together. So I'm just lowering my rear hand, lifting my right, switching the palm, looking up if that's available, noticing I started to lift my knee. I noticed that I checked myself. You want your front knee always over your ankle. And then back to Warrior 2. Okay, let's shake that out. From there, another common pose is lowering the front arm, raising the back. Not much weight goes into here, but you can rest a little bit if you like. That elbow to the front knee. Again, looking up if it's available to you. There's nothing wrong with looking down. You're still doing yoga. Looking forward is just fine. Looking up is great too. Okay, let's just do that together now. So lowering the front arm, elbow comes toward the nape. Looking up at the hand, if that's available, front or down if not. I think this is called exalted warrior. Let's meet back in warrior 2. So from here, let's just shift to the other side and we'll just go through it more fluidly and see how that feels. So you can see I've just flipped my feet. The rear foot is now my right and it's parallel to the back of the mat. My front foot is now my left. It's parallel to the sides of my mat. My left knee is directly over my left ankle. I'm bringing the hands out parallel to the floor and I'm looking out over that front middle finger. Take a nice deep breath here, and then we'll do reverse warrior. Looking up if available, front or down if not. Coming back through warrior 2, lowering that right hand, lifting the back hand. Elbow comes toward the front knee, looking down or forward or up. Into reverse warrior, or exalted warrior, sorry. Back through warrior 2. Let's just repeat that one more time. Warrior 2 to reverse, back through warrior 2 to exalted warrior. And back to warrior 2. Well, thanks for joining me, yogis. What a pleasure to be with you today. That's a basic introduction for newbies to some of the really basic poses. I hope you found it helpful, and I'll look for you on the next one.